Good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, I put up a post and I was asking where it is that you are struggling the most. Where do you need help? And one of the great topics that was brought up was diet consistency. So thank you for bringing that up. This is actually something that we just addressed in Lifting at Lean this week. And the reason that we talk about it is because it's very common to struggle with this. So don't feel like you are a failure if you do struggle with consistency in your diet. I'll address the workout situation with another post. But right now I'm just going to talk about the diet because honestly, everybody, your diet is your most important piece of this puzzle. Getting workouts in is great. And yes, we need to be physically active, and that will speed along the weight loss process if that is one of your goals. But nutrition is the most important thing. If you're thinking about a pyramid, the base of that pyramid, the biggest piece of the pie is nutrition. So it's important that we get a handle on it and figure out how can we be more consistent. So there's a couple of things that lead to us being inconsistent, and I'm going to address those issues and how we can sort of tackle them. So first off, trying to be a perfectionist or follow really strict rules. First of all, you know you're not going to be perfect. We can't be perfect. What is perfect? Nobody even knows what that is. And maybe you can be perfect for a day or 2 days. Maybe you can even be perfect Monday through Friday. But then when the weekend comes, something in you says, I'm sick of being perfect. I don't want to be perfect anymore. Or some other things that we're going to address here just in a moment. So throughout the week, let go of the idea that you need to be perfect. Start doing just a little bit better. Maybe each day you do a little bit better. Each week you get a little bit better. But let go of the idea that you have to do 100% everything right. Strict rules are not going to get you anywhere because it's our natural tendency to want to rebel. So forget the rules and just focus on being a little bit better. Like, doesn't that sound so much more doable? It doesn't sound as exciting, but it's going to help you stop this on again, off again business that has you not reaching your goals year in and year out. Another thing kind of goes along the lines of perfectionism is this all or nothing thinking. So you're either all in or you're all out. In our group the other day, I used the example of, well, this also falls into another category, but let's say, you decide to go out to breakfast or brunch with your friends and you have every intention of getting like this egg white omelet and just a coffee, but then you decide to get the pancake flight and you get mimosas because it's brunch and you're like, well, I just ruined all my work. It's all or nothing, so today's going to be a nothing day. It absolutely does not need to be the case. Like every meal that you have is another opportunity to turn this around. So instead of thinking about all or nothing, think about a scale, a sliding scale to where you want to be on the better side of the scale rather than the worse side of the scale. Because sometimes we don't have a lot of options. Forget about going to brunch or breakfast. Let's say you're at the airport, an airport that doesn't have a lot of options, and you got to go to the gift shop, and it's either going to be trail mix or a protein bar. And those are great options, but there's also candy bars and there's Doritos in the gift shop. So what are you going to do? No, they don't have a chicken and broccoli meal, but getting trail mix is going to be a better option than going to get just the Doritos. Okay. So stop worrying about being all in or all out and just focus on making the best decisions possible for the situations that you find yourself in. The third, good and bad trade-offs. So this kind of goes along with being a perfectionist or even the all or nothing. So this is what happens when we follow strict rules throughout the week and we try and be perfect. You get to Saturday and you have this feeling that you deserve fill in the blank because you have been so good all week long. And I like to remind my clients, so what is it that you really deserve? You deserve to feel and look your best. You don't necessarily deserve to go get the gotta have it size at Cold Stone. Okay? So just because you've been good at your diet during the week doesn't mean that you can be bad on the weekend. And, there's 52 weeks in a year. And that means there's 52 weekends. If you are good all week long, but then you screw it on the weekend, you're never going to get anywhere. So it doesn't matter how good you are. You might as well just focus on being a little bit better each day, and that's going to get you farther in the long run. So just because you've been quote unquote good during the week does not mean that you deserve something else that you would consider like a bad trade-off. Stop trading off. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. And then I mentioned a little bit ago, like this screw it effect or a YOLO. Let's think about going out to breakfast or brunch again. And just because you have one off-plan meal doesn't mean the rest of your meals for that day, for that week, for that weekend need to all be off-plan. You can get right back into the game with the very next thing that you eat. Like, stop waiting for Monday to start your diet. Stop waiting for Monday to start over. Start over at lunch on a Thursday. Why can't you do that? You absolutely can. Another thing that leads to inconsistency is having cheat days. First of all, I think most of us are out of that mentality. At least I don't see it that much with people having cheat days anymore. At least call it something different, because when we say the word cheat and it's referring to food, we are automatically implying that there are good foods and there are bad foods, and that's not the case. There are simply some foods we want to eat more of, some foods we want to eat less of. Food is not good or bad. It's just food. It's like emotions. The emotions that you have are not good or bad. They're just emotions. We're just feelings. Let's stop labeling everything. So, but with this cheat day, it brings a whole mess of implications. First of all, you're not present during the week because you're looking forward to that day when you can eat whatever it is that you want. It brings us into this scarcity mentality. So Monday through Saturday, I can't eat what I want, and what I really want is it's scarce. What I really want is scarce. We want to have an abundance mentality, right? You guys are familiar with The Secret and having this abundance mentality. If you have an abundance mentality, you can have whatever you want anytime you want it. Doesn't that? And what that does, it makes it seem a little less sexy. So you know what I want all the time? I like ice cream. I love ice cream. I could eat ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and my 2 snacks of the day and be happy as a lark. Guess what? I can eat ice cream anytime I want to. I'm not saying it's off limits, because if I say it's off limits, then what do you think I'm craving and thinking about and obsessing about all the time? Ice cream. So let's stop obsessing about the foods that we can only have on this cheat day and allow yourself a little more freedom during the week. The other thing with cheat days is, so let's say Sunday's your cheat day where you go to breakfast, you go to lunch, and then if you're still hungry, you have whatever you want for dinner, and you're having all the snacks and all the candy and all the drinks, and but then you feel so gross. You feel gross then on Monday. You feel gluttonous. You're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Was it really worth it? And then you say, you know what I need? I need more rules. I need more rules. I need more guidelines. So you say that on Monday. Then on Tuesday, you realize you can't follow all those rules and all those guidelines. So on Wednesday, you feel like a failure again. And it's just like this vicious cycle. So instead of having a cheat day, fit in your favorite foods that you would have on a cheat day throughout the week. So if I want ice cream, I'm not going to eat 2 pints of ice cream or quarts or gallons, whatever, however they come. I'm not going to eat 2 of those on the weekend, even though I could. I'm just going to have a little bit of ice cream on Monday, and maybe a little bit of ice cream on Wednesday, maybe a little bit of ice cream on Friday, if I want it. But now I know that I can have it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth it. I'd rather have fill in the blank. So something to think about. Another thing I'm not going to dive too much into right now are scripts and stories. This is kind of something more in depth that I talk about within Lift to Get Lean. But chances are there's a story that you're telling yourself about why you can't be consistent. In fact, I'll just make this another topic for another video. But those stories that you're telling yourself aren't true. And all those stories are doing are holding you back. And you're believing that story, which is taking your power away. and telling you that you don't have the power to choose in whatever situation that story applies to. When you know that is not the case, because you always have the power to choose. You are always in control of the decisions that you make. Nobody's making you eat anything. Nobody can make you do anything, period. So we're all adults here. Start making better choices. And then finally, avoiding the void. Again, this is another like deeper topic for another day. But a lot of times when we are inconsistent, there's not a lot of people around us. And we're doing these things in private. So we're eating things that we wouldn't normally eat or that we think we shouldn't eat in private because no one is around us. And what happens when nobody's around us? First of all, we're not supervised. Second of all, maybe we feel lonely. Maybe we feel like we can finally relax. But you're starting to feel your feelings. You're able to just be by yourself, and maybe it's hard for you to be by yourself and you don't know what to do with yourself. So you just fill up your time with food when you're not actually hungry. You're actually kind of lonely, or you're lacking some sort of connection. And you're filling this void with food instead of what it is that you really want. And like I said, this is a deeper topic that I'll do another video on because it's pretty intense. That's something that you need to think about and really consider. But if you notice that if you're only going off plan, if you're only inconsistent when nobody's around, start to figure out what leads up to that situation. And so these are a lot of things for you to think about. Bottom line is, ditch the all or nothing. Just try and be a little bit better. Remember, you can't be perfect. Start to really observe your behaviors and see what triggers you to be inconsistent, and know that you're going to fail. Okay, you will fail. This is like one of those 5 hard truths that I told y'all about. You will fail, so you have to have a plan for when you fail. You have to have a contingency plan, whatever that looks like for you, okay? So more on this. Thanks you guys so much for giving me the topics that you need help with, because that just makes my job easier. And if you're feeling it, somebody else is. You are not alone. So share so I can help you and we can all help each other. You guys have an awesome afternoon, and I'll talk to you soon.